Would you ever get married again, do you think?
No, never.
Really? Never?
Never, but I have 2 reasons. One, it would be my 4th marriage. So unless I'm cool like Elizabeth Taylor.
You could be that cool.
It's not a good
cool.
look.
Yeah.
Because I married someone early on, like for a sort of like favor logistical thing. And then I got married to Tom Green, and he's such a lovely person. We just were young. We were just kids,
Sure.
And we just tried to do something and it didn't work out. But then that becomes, a divorce and then another marriage. And when I married, my kid's father, it was like, that was it. It was like, I never thought I would be with anyone else. And I just thought I'm going to have that nuclear family, and we're going to be, a 4-top at dinner for life. And when that just couldn't happen that way, it took me a very long time to come to terms with that.
Because it was an image in your head.
Yeah. And, you blame yourself.
Yes.
In my world, it was almost nobody else's fault. I took all the blame. And there was no scandal. Nothing was wrong. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's even harder because you can't pinpoint something.
Right, and it's easier to have something to just point to.
You're like, this terrible thing happened, and that was the reason.
Right.
It was just like, no, this is just one of those unfortunate circumstances. And we work so well as co-parents, and there's so much love, and I'm so close with his family. After this, I'm going to dinner with Grammy and Poppy to watch our weekly Jeopardy tournament.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
How cute
with
is that?
the girls, and I it's like nothing changed. My kids have now a wonderful stepmother, Allie, who I couldn't love more. Will's sister, Jill, my kid's aunt, is one of our closest people. And I live within blocks radius of the entire family. Like, our community and love, nothing changed. But for some reason, I don't know. I couldn't come to terms with it for a few years. And that took me down. And I also was like, I didn't want to play characters. I wanted to be my kid's mom. I knew that I wanted to figure out not how to just be a storyteller, but to live a real life.
Yeah.
And it was like game time. You have kids, and it's like, you have got to become a grown-up. And I have never felt like a grown-up, even though I went to work at 11 months old. I still was like a kid who burned the candle at all ends. And the kids thing, I think I took it way too seriously. Like, I wasn't lighthearted. I'm fun with my kids. I'm comedic and goofy and silly and playful. But, like, it was like everything was heart attack serious, you know?
Especially your first. I mean, everything.
Everything.
Oh my God, those parents who are like calm. I'm like,
no.
I want to be
So
like
not
you.
calm. Anybody falls and barely touches their head, and I'm like, it's a concussion for sure.
Yeah,
we have to go in.
take them to the hospital.
100%.
When Will and I separated, we would do this thing called nesting, where he would go from the house and I would go from the house and the kids would stay there. We just tried that for a couple months to make it as stable for the kids as possible. And I stayed in this woman's apartment, and she didn't really have any furniture in it and no TV. Years later, we have this tradition where me and Will and Allie and the girls all go buy our Christmas trees together, one for Dad's house, one for Mom's house. And I looked up, and behind the Christmas tree place was the apartment I would go and stay in, and was the most heartbroken I've ever known in my life. And here we are. And I was like, you guys, can we take a picture really quick?
Oh my God, I have chills.
And I have a picture of all of us in front of this apartment building. And it's like, sometimes you just don't know where this goes. And you just have to brace and get through it. Mm-hmm. And no matter what that time was like, I believe it can really fall into place and be a mega payoff. And I hold that picture so dear because it's like everything is okay.
You got to the other side.
We got to the other side. And there will be times where you just think there's no way it's going to be okay. And you can't even convince yourself of it. And then,
And then one day it is.
One day, I've got the picture. It's in a frame, and it's like the happiest I've ever been because I'm like, oh my God, I would have never known then.
Right. When I was thinking about you and empire that you've built, honestly. I mean,
So doesn't feel like that. But
your
that's
show and your
great. Okay,
podcast and
good.
your magazine and your products and your, Flower Films. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's incredible. You are just a master storyteller from the most purest possible, not in like spinning a story and like spinning a web of stories, but like really like it's like cathartic for you.
And the pureness, really.
How do you even decide how you pivot and where you go next? It just seems like you've taken on more than you've ever you have
Oh my
have to
God.
take on all this.
I can't even believe the amount I've taken on, and I just didn't ever think that that things would stick like this. So I just sort of said, let's try a bunch of different things, and then all of a sudden they're all sticking for a minute. You know, I always feel like it could disappear in a moment.
It's like feast or famine kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I'm probably since childhood, and I kind of, my mom did lock me up in an institution. I did get like blacklisted, and I did lose a career, and I did, not have anything, and then got emancipated and moved out on my own when I was 14 into like a crappy, scary apartment that I just went back to, and I was like, no wonder I was scared here. This place is terrifying. Right. Like, holy hell,
well, the life you've lived
God.
is
And so I think I will always believe like it's like they're coming. I'll always think like, oh my God, it could probably go away at any moment. I'm not sure if that's healthy and will keep me on my toes and humbled, or just classic paranoia that's going to keep me down. I don't know, but that is kind of how I function. Like,
I think that's how to me that sounds normal.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah. To me that sounds normal.
I think that's what continues the
drive.
Yeah.
I think we all, imagine if you
floating
felt.
by.
Imagine if
Also,
you
I
felt
don't want
you
to
would
live
just,
that existence.
and it's like
Right.
hungry and excited.
Right, exactly.
And, again, career, ambition, ascension, none of those words are in my vocabulary. I
Yeah.
don't give a crap. I've just never sought power. I've never sought it in my life. I never will. But I cannot stop myself from wanting to do things, build things, make things, be a part of things. It's like I'm waiting for a permanent flare gun to go off so that I can like jump into the race and run for my life. And I feel very sadly comfortable in that state because it's probably what I've always known. And I remember when Simone Biles said like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. That flipped me out.
Yeah.
such a healthy boundary.
I was like, oh my God, I've never stopped running.
Yeah.
I don't think so many people know that no is an option or a healthy pause. And then there was this thing that I can't remember who put it out, but it's like a cartoon illustration so elegantly drawn of like the gold, the silver, and the bronze medalists on their podiums. And then it's Simone Biles leaping over in the splits high in the air above the tallest platform that says mental wellness.
Right.
Like that she's the most victorious for being self-aware in that moment. Like I wish that for more people to know that they can take a pause because we're all running on like the on fire hamster wheel. Yeah.